grown-ass woman!
Hey, legends in the making. You're tuned to WWE Uncovered, bringing WWE to your screen daily. Hit that bell and let's start. The NXT Women's Championship scene has quietly shifted in a way few expected, not through an official announcement or a title change, but through a moment of clarity that unfolded away from the spotlight and reframed how one match will be remembered. What followed wasn't chaos or speculation, but something far more powerful in professional wrestling: validation, belief, and a declaration that may redefine a young competitor's future before she ever steps back into the ring. The match that refused to settle. The women's title match may have ended in the ring, but its meaning never truly settled. Instead of closure, the result created questions that lingered long after the final decision. Fans debated the outcome, officials reviewed moments, and the locker room quietly took notice. In wrestling, controversy doesn't always come from unclear finishes. Sometimes it comes from clarity that isn't officially acknowledged. That tension sat at the center of this situation. The match didn't lack effort or intensity, but its aftermath revealed a deeper issue about recognition. When a performance feels decisive, yet isn't treated as such, it opens the door for narrative shifts that can change careers. A backstage moment that changed everything. Away from the crowd, cameras captured a moment that carried enormous weight. Jordynne Grace stood watching footage of the championship match, focused and unflinching. As the replay ended, her reaction wasn't hesitation or uncertainty. It was conviction. With calm authority, she made her stance clear. In her view, the match had a rightful winner. There was no ambiguity in her words, no room for debate. This wasn't an emotional outburst or a strategic move. It was a statement rooted in experience. Coming from someone with Jordynne's credibility, that declaration immediately elevated the situation from opinion to challenge, forcing everyone watching to reconsider what they thought they knew. The power of Jordynne Grace's voice. Jordynne Grace's role in this moment cannot be overstated. She didn't just offer support, she reframed the narrative. In professional wrestling, who speaks matters just as much as what is said. Jordynne's reputation as a competitor who values legitimacy gave her words added gravity. By stating that the outcome was clean and decisive, she removed doubt rather than adding to it. That clarity placed pressure not on the competitor she supported, but on the system around them. When someone of her standing publicly affirms a result, it becomes difficult to dismiss without explanation. Her voice didn't escalate conflict. It demanded accountability. Thea Hail steps into the frame. When Thea Hail appeared beside Jordynne Grace, the tone shifted again. She wasn't celebrating or demanding recognition. Instead, she looked reflective, absorbing what had just been said. That composure mattered. It showed maturity beyond her years and reinforced that this moment wasn't about ego. Thea listened, acknowledged the support, and responded with intention. Her words carried purpose, not defiance. She made it clear that she planned to address the audience not as someone seeking validation, but as someone who already believed in her standing. That distinction marked a turning point. It suggested growth, confidence, and readiness to carry a heavier spotlight. Gratitude without dependency. One of the most telling aspects of Thea Hail's response was how she expressed gratitude without surrendering agency. She thanked Jordynne Grace for speaking up, but she didn't frame herself as dependent on that endorsement. Instead, she treated it as confirmation rather than rescue. That balance is crucial. It positioned Thea as someone who values respect, but doesn't require permission to move forward. In wrestling storytelling, that nuance separates rising stars from transitional figures. By acknowledging the support while maintaining ownership of her path, Thea demonstrated that this moment wasn't about borrowing credibility, but about having her own recognized. Legitimacy over celebration. What stood out most was the absence of celebration. There were no raised arms, no dramatic proclamations. Instead, the focus remained on legitimacy. Thea Hail's intent to address the audience as champion wasn't about provocation. It was about acknowledgement. In wrestling, titles represent more than objects. They symbolize trust, validation, and responsibility. By framing her next move around recognition rather than confrontation, Thea shifted the conversation. She wasn't trying to create controversy. She was responding to it with calm confidence. That approach made the situation more compelling because it asked others to explain why reality and recognition didn't align. A career-defining crossroad. This moment represents a critical junction in Thea Hail's career. For much of her journey, questions have followed her. Doubts about experience, emotional intensity, and readiness have shaped how she's perceived. This situation challenges those narratives directly. With a respected peer affirming her performance and her own confidence rising to meet the moment, the burden of proof has shifted. It's no longer about whether Thea belongs. It's about whether the system is willing to acknowledge what has already happened. That shift in pressure is often what precedes major career elevation, making this moment far more significant than a single match result. The locker room is watching behind the scenes. Moments like this don't exist in isolation. The locker room notices when narratives change. Jordynne Grace's statement didn't just support one competitor. It signaled that silence is no longer neutral. Other competitors will now have to decide where they stand, not publicly, but internally. Do they accept the established outcome, or do they align with what they saw in the ring? This kind of quiet division can reshape a roster's dynamics. Alliances form, rivalries gain depth, and motivations sharpen. The women's division now operates under a new layer of tension, one built not on rivalry, but on acknowledgement. What happens if Thea claims the title? If Thea Hail steps out in front of the audience declaring herself the rightful champion, the reaction will matter as much as the declaration itself. That moment would force officials, competitors, and fans to respond. Silence would speak volumes. Opposition would escalate the story. Acceptance would redefine it. Wrestling thrives on moments where belief challenges structure, and this could become one of those defining instances. Thea wouldn't be demanding change, she would be embodying it. Whether the division rallies behind her or pushes back, the result would shape the next chapter of the championship's legacy. Belief as the ultimate advantage. In professional wrestling, belief often precedes reality. Championships, rivalries, and legacies begin as ideas before they become facts. Right now, belief is shifting. Jordynne Grace believes. Thea Hail believes. That alignment creates momentum that is difficult to stop. This story isn't driven by chaos or rebellion, but by clarity and confidence. As the division responds, the question won't be who wants the title most, but who truly carries it in the eyes of those who matter. Whatever comes next, this moment will be remembered as the point where belief became impossible to ignore.